Morning, Pete, North Las Vegas again. Back on the 71 Camaro. I'm gonna hang my old fender on today, and I've got repop brand new fenders for it, but I'm just gonna hang my old fender on here to get an idea of how much clearance I have to run my AC lines, and decide whether I'm gonna run them low or if I'm gonna run them up here high. And what I did was, okay, the fender's not real heavy, but it's kind of big and bulky, so I'm working by myself today. So what I did was I took my I took a longer bolt and just ran this the opposite direction through the core support. So I've turned this into a stud just to hang the fender, so I don't have to worry about getting the fender up here and then trying to start a bolt to hold it on. I could just drop the fender over this makeshift stud, and then I only got one bolt to mess around with. So I got everything taped up. Hopefully that's going to protect the powder coat. And but first I got to move this out. So if you guys don't know how to keep a 2001 Corvette from falling apart, you just don't drive it. I bought this brand new. I have under 50,000 miles on it, and I would say, I'm not exaggerating, I get in this thing and I'd say probably about every 1,000 miles, something on this car breaks or needs some kind of attention. Now, when a car's 100% and it's running great, yeah, 170 miles an hour plus. This is a base model Corvette. I know the new ones do close to 200 miles an hour off the showroom floor, but this is only a 170 mile per hour version. It puts out just under 400 horse. But anyway, we're going to get it moved out of the garage. So what I usually do is, if there's anybody around, I'll kind of yell out, hey, watch out for flying parts. I'm getting ready to start this thing. So, yeah, and I got just enough room to squeeze in here. I mean, I don't hate the car, but this particular year model for me, I can't speak for everybody's Corvette, but all right, so we'll get it out in the driveway and let it warm up for a few. I haven't started it in a couple of weeks, so, and then we'll get on the Camaro. Well, made it out into the driveway without anything breaking yet. Okay, well, this is the original fender that came with the car. Usual nastiness down there on the bottom. From about here up, the fender's like really good shape, just minor surface rust. Just bad down here. So at some point when I get this Camaro done, we'll probably take a lot of these parts and maybe go to an auction or a flea market or something and see if anybody wants to buy some of this stuff. Like I said, I'm from the Southwest, so to me that's a lot of rot. You guys that live in the Midwest, Pacific Northwest, East Coast or whatever, you're probably looking at that going like, that's nothing. All right, so let's get the fender hung on here, and then we'll figure out where we can run the lights. I'm going to put my headlight bracket in here, and we'll get the bumper bracket kind of mocked up, and see where we can run these lines. Right now, I'm wanting to use 90s on the dryer, but I don't know. I may end up switching this one over to a straight, but we'll see how it works out. Okay, so I set the core support up according to the assembly manual from this point here up to the top mount, and that was roughly 43 1/4. The assembly manual says 40.21 or something like that. Just call it a quarter. Anyway, I just have this thing hanging here, and it's sitting kind of flush against this mount, and it's sitting pretty well flush against the radiator core. And I don't have the door closed all the way, but you can see already that the door gap is like really close already, and I don't have this thing bolted up. I've got maybe 1/4 inch, 3/8 that I have to adjust the inner fender. I'll have to loosen up the mounting bolts back here a little bit, and I'll probably end up having to loosen the mounting bolts for the front just a tiny bit to get the inner fender rocked up just slightly, get that a little bit closer. It would probably bolt up right there, but that would put a lot of tension on it. But anyway, the real reason we're doing this is just to see how much room I had to run my AC lines. I'm going to get my headlight bracket out, and so we'll see where we're at there, how much more real estate gets eaten up with that thing. I got a feeling I'm going to have plenty of room down here. I know you guys have already done this and already routed your hoses this way, but anyway, I got to see for myself. Well, I've got some mystery bolt holes on the radiator support. It comes pretty much straight down from the center of the headlight bracket. And I looked all over the assemble manuals. I've looked at all the books I have. And even between a standard and an RS version Camaro, I don't show what these are for. I've looked through all my parts. I don't have any brackets that I forgot about. As far as I know, there's no bumper bracket that goes through there. This is where the header panel meets the valance, whatever you want to call it. So there's really, by the time you get the filler panel in here, there's really no room for anything to come through the front. And I got the same thing over here. So the only thing I can figure is maybe it's for an RS Camaro, not a standard front end. I have a standard front end Camaro, but like I said, I couldn't find anything in any of my manuals that tells me what those bolt holes are for, unless it has something to do with a spoiler support maybe. I don't know. Mystery bolt holes. Okay, so I've got about as far as I can today. I've got everything pretty much mocked up. The factory bolt here, man, that thing stuck out to like here. So I replaced it with a shorter stainless and put a serrated washer on there instead of the cupped washer that the factory used. But anyway, I pretty much know exactly how I'm going to route my lines now and where I'm going to clamp them. So I just got to get some clamps on order. I want to get some nice ones. I'm going to look for like some type of clamshell that maybe is hinged on one side. So you just take a bolt loose and the clamshell will come apart, but it just doesn't fly into pieces. It'll stay put to get the hoses out if you have to do anything with the front end. So, okay, well, that's where I'm at right now. Pete, North Las Vegas, over and out. Okay, well, I got everything made up. Everything's kind of snugged up. I still have to put oil in the system and just figure out where I'm going to put a few clamps. Pretty much nothing's touching anywhere unless I want it to. Plenty of clearance over here to get around the battery. And here's the edge of the battery box right there. So battery's not that tall anyway, but just to kind of keep the hose away from it anyway. So when I get this clamped in, like I said, nothing's touching, nothing's going to be rubbing, except where it ends up in the clamp. I kind of thought about running a straight off of here instead of doing this double 90. But it worked out. The hose bent okay. It's not flattened out or anything. It kept its shape. And the same thing with this number 8, even though it's getting a little bit tight, but it's not real bad. So anyway, yeah, so we're going to call that good for today.